Please take your seats. The session will begin at 6:30. ready to go. I mean, we're just waiting for them to take the stage at this point.
The meeting will come to order. We are now holding the annual meeting of Business Professionals of America, Michigan Association. Mr. Vice President, what are the major purposes of our professional organization?
We recognize the importance and understand the contributions that have been made to our country by business professionals. We are preparing to take our place in these challenging positions. We work together in Business Professionals of America to develop essential competencies in leadership, scholarship, character, and citizenship so that we may share in the improvements of our economy and the advancement of our nation.
May we accomplish these objectives. Mr. Vice President, will you please present the officers?
With pleasure, I introduce State President Kunal Garg, State Secretary-Treasurer Brian Branham, State Parliamentarian Jake Taylor, State Historian Hannah X, State Vice President of Membership Skylar MacArthur, Vice President of Communication Ali Zook, Vice President of Leadership Development Rachel Walling, and myself, State Vice President Jacob Rowe. Mr. President, all officers are at their stations.
Will the members and friends please rise and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States, followed by the Business Professionals of America American Pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Fellow members and guests, please join me in reciting the Business Professionals of America Pledge as shown on screen. We are met in a spirit of friendship and goodwill as we prepare for careers in a world-class workforce. We work together to develop professionals and business professionals of America and pledge our loyalty to our nation. The first item of business is the reports of conference committees. The chair recognizes Vice President of Communications, Ali Zook, to present the Credentials Committee report.
Mr. President, attached is the list of names of the voting members of the conference as of 6:32 p.m. The committee reports that there are the following numbers of voting delegates entitled to vote: 199. In addition, the committee reports the following non-voting delegate members present: elected officers, 8. Past presidents of Michigan BPA, 6. Past national officers, 2. Alumni, 54. Chapter members, 1,801. Total number in attendance, 2,183. On behalf of the committee, I move that the roll of delegates hereby submitted be the official roll of voting and non-voting members and guests of the conference.
Are there any questions of the report? Hearing none, we will proceed to vote on the Credentials Committee report. All voting delegates in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, and the report is adopted. The chair recognizes Vice President of Membership Skylar MacArthur to present the Conference Standing Rules Committee report.
The Conference Standing Rules Committee reports and presents the following standing rules for this annual conference. 1. Directly after the opening ceremonies of the annual business meeting, the Credentials Committee shall report the number of delegates registered as present with proper credentials and shall make supplementary report prior to the adjourning of the annual business meeting. 2. Voting delegates shall be required to wear a voting delegate ribbon issued by the Credentials Committee in order to be seated in the delegate session of the Assembly Hall. 3. Voting delegates that leave before the conclusion of the annual business meeting and opening sessions shall lose their voting privileges for the remainder of the conference. Alternates or proxies are not allowed. 4. Identification, name tags, and wristbands issued at the conference shall be worn for admission to all meetings, workshops, and conference events. Badges or wristbands may not be transferred. 5. Voting delegates wishing to speak shall stand and state their name and school. Upon being recognized, the delegates shall state their business. 6. All main motions and amendments thereto shall be written, signed by the mover, and given to the secretary after being stated by the president. 7. No member may speak more than once on the same question or for longer than 2 minutes. In the case of the maker of the motion and the first person in opposition to it, 3 minutes shall be allowed. Individuals called on to provide information or to make reports are not governed by this rule. 8. The president shall appoint a committee of 3 to read and approve the conference minutes. 9. Nominations from the floor for officer elections will not be allowed. 10. The delegate code of conduct and dress code previously published in the conference registration material and in the conference program will hereby be approved, and the reading of these documents to the assembly shall not be required. By direction of the Conference Standing Rules Committee, I move the adoption of the standing rules as just read.
Are there any questions on the report? Hearing none, we will proceed to vote. Adoption of the standing rules requires a 2/3 vote. All voting delegates in favor of adopting the standing rules, please rise. Be seated. Those opposed, please rise. Be seated. There are 2/3 in the affirmative, and the standing rules are adopted. The chair recognizes Vice President of Leadership Development, Rachel Walling, to present the program committee report.
Mr. President, an electronic version of the program as proposed by the Program Committee is available on the Michigan BPA SLC website to each registrant of the conference. By direction of the committee, I move the adoption of the program.
Are you ready for the question? The question is on the adoption of the conference program. All voting delegates in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, and the report is adopted. At this time, the chair announces that he appoints Hannah X., Jacob Rowe, and Skylar MacArthur to serve as a minutes approval committee. The chair now recognizes State Secretary Treasurer Brian Branham to report on the minutes of the 2014 annual conference and to present the treasurer's report.
The minutes of the 2014 annual conference were reviewed and approved by the Minutes Approval Committee. A copy of the minutes is available upon request from the state office. There are currently 4,339 members in the Michigan Association. A complete financial report is available upon request from the state office.
Voting delegates, as representatives of your chapter, you will be responsible for electing the 2015-2016 State Executive Council. Each candidate was interviewed earlier today and completed a state officer quiz. During the opening session, each candidate will speak on a topic given to them this afternoon. In addition, the candidates will answer one question on stage during this session. Each candidate will be evaluated as they speak. We will be looking for confidence, appearance, character, poise, and speaking ability. These are a few of the essential qualities of an executive council team member. This year, candidates will be ranked on a point system by the current State Executive Council, State Officer Coordinator, and State Director, also known as the Appointment Committee. The point system will be as follows. Candidates will be ranked on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the least points possible and 5 being the most points possible. Candidates will not be slated for a specific office. All candidates will campaign for the opportunity to serve Michigan BPA. Only the candidates receiving a majority vote from the voting delegates will be placed in specific offices by the Appointment Committee. After the conclusion of the opening session, the candidates will be ranked by the current State Executive Council on the basis of their application, recommendations, interview, impromptu question, and speech. We ask you to be consistent in evaluating each candidate's speech. This is extremely important as you are electing the next leaders of the Michigan Association of Business Professionals of America. Voting delegates must be present during the entire voting delegates and opening sessions. If you leave either session, you will forfeit the votes for your chapter.
We would like to introduce the candidates that are seeking office on the 2015-2016 State Executive Council. Please stand when your name is called and proceed on the stage. Jake DeVos, Roy, Clarenceville High School. Brandy Geck, Lake Orion High School. Meredith, Anchor Bay High School. Jonathan Haynes, Midland High School. Ethan Bixler Smith, Hillsdale High School. Emily LeSean, Byron High School. Jessica Morgan, Williamston High School. Eric J. Beals, St. John's High School. Lily Sheline, Berrien Springs High School. Taylor Meck, Pinckney Community High School. Dina Zhu, Ann Arbor Huron High School. Jake DeVos, Roy, Clarenceville High School. What is your favorite extracurricular activity besides BPA? Once again, what is your favorite extracurricular activity besides BPA?
Hello, everyone. My favorite extracurricular activity besides BPA would definitely be playing varsity soccer. I played soccer for almost my whole life, and I'm team captain now, and I take a lot of pride in that, and I enjoy it. Thank you.
Brandy Geck, Lake Orion High School. What type of leader are you? What type of leader are you?
I'm a cooperative leader because I like to hear everyone's opinion and what they think of something before we decide to take action on it, just so everyone's views are expressed and that everyone feels like they have an equal role in what's going on.
Meredith Moore, Anchor Bay High School. If you received $1 million, what would you do with it? If you received $1 million, what would you do with it?
Hello. If I received $1 million, I would put it into a charitable fund with a local community foundation and start a scholarship fund for children in need. Thank you.
Jonathan Haynes, Midland High School. If you could time travel to anywhere, where would you go and why? If you could time travel to anywhere, where would you go and why?
If I could time travel anywhere, it would probably be to the future because I believe that a lot of things can happen through BPA as well as our community as well. With the leaders that we have today, us as students in this generation, I believe we are very strong together, and I believe that in the future we will be able to work together better than any generation in the past. And I'd love to see the things that we can accomplish as a generation as we grow up.
Ethan Bixler Smith, Hillsdale High School. If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be and why? If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be and why?
Hello, my name's Ethan Bixler Smith, and I really like business. If I could change one thing about myself, I would go back in time and join BPA my freshman year because I joined BPA my sophomore year, and I really feel that if I had another year of experience under my belt, I could improve my leadership qualities. immensely. Thank you.
Emily LaShawn, Byron High School. The most important lesson of my life so far is. The most important lesson of my life so far is.
The most important lesson of my life is to take every moment you get and make the most of it. Thank you.
Jessica Morgan, Williamston High School. If your best friend were to describe you, what would they say? If your best friend were to describe you, what would they say?
If my best friend were to describe me, she would describe me as a good listener and someone that doesn't judge based on your mistakes, as well as being well-rounded and fun. Thank you.
Eric J. Beals, St. John's High School. What do you think inspired this year's state theme? What do you think inspired this year's state theme?
Hello. I think the movement of BPA, the evolution of BPA, inspired this year's state theme. I think it provided a strong backbone for the state theme. Thank you.
Lily Sheline, Berrien Springs High School. How do you deal with failure? How do you deal with failure?
Hi, everybody. Well, typically I will cry first, and then I usually try to think about the positives of my failure and how I can grow from it. So, thank you.
Taylor Mack, Pinckney Community High School. Which torch best describes you? Which torch best describes you?
The torch that best describes me is probably patriotism, because I have a strong love for our country, and I like serving people, and so I think patriotism best describes me.
Dina Zhu, Ann Arbor Huron High School. Would you rather be liked or respected? Would you rather be liked or respected?
Hi. I would rather be respected, because many great leaders in our history were not well liked during their times, but people have learned about their impact after their time and have grown to respect them. Thank you.
This will conclude the impromptu questions.
Good luck to all the candidates. The next item of business is the second report of the Credentials Committee. The chair recognizes Vice President of Communications, Ali Zook.
Mr. President, attached is the list of names of voting members of the conference as of 6:48 p.m. The committee reports that there are the following number of voting delegates entitled to vote: 162. In addition, the committee reports the following non-voting delegates present: elected officers, 8; past presidents in Michigan BPA, 6; past national officers, 2; alumni, 54; chapter members, 1,838; Yes, 113. Total number in attendance, 2,183. On behalf of the committee, I move that the roll of delegates hereby submitted be the official roll of voting and non-voting members and guests at the conference.
Are there any questions on the report? Hearing none, we will proceed to vote on the Credentials Committee report. All voting delegates in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, and the report is adopted. Mr. Secretary, do you know of any further business which should be transacted at this time?
Mr. President.
Are there any announcements?
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes Jacob Taylor.
I would like to make an announcement that if your chapter name was not called during the roll, the voting delegates of that chapter should see a state officer immediately following this session. In addition, the Parade of Presidents begins at 7 p.m. All voting delegates in the Parade of Presidents should meet the state officers outside the ballroom doors to my right, immediately following this session. More instructions will be given at that time.
We are now about to adjourn this annual business meeting of Michigan Association of Business Professionals of America. As we associate together, let us be supportive of each other as we strive to attain the goals of this organization. If there is no objection, I now declare this meeting adjourned. I now declare this meeting adjourned.
Chapter presidents, as you leave the ballroom, please exit out of the opposite door you entered. So on the right as you're facing the exit. Why are they coming?